Sorry for a little bit of delay. Welcome back everyone to this week's Closing Bell live show. We were having a little bit of issues. Somebody was taking a power nap and then took forever to put his suit on. Andrew, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you? I was actually sleeping, taking a nap. Ali asked me to wake up for that, and then we close here. We changed at the office here.
Market never sleeps, right?
Market
So
never sleeps, but we start really early. So the market opens at 6:30 in Vancouver time. So we wake up early, and sometimes this is our afternoon nap.
Yeah, exactly. Andrew, one of the members on Twitter, before we get into the market, by the way, thank you so much for everyone who's tuning in. We got a really packed show. We're gonna talk about the close. We'll talk about basically everything that is going on. Inflation data came out in Europe, what that means for the market, what happened in the bond market. We'll look at Lululemon, HP, who got earnings coming up this week. So we got to look at a lot of stuff. Really packed show. Before I do start, Andrew, I wanna start with a little bit of joke because today's session is really serious. One of the members tweeted at you and is like, "What's up with the suits?" Fair enough. My style, I always dress up regardless. So you always find me dressing up, even if it's like a casual encounter. I'm always like, I like dressing up. But Andrew, you're known as a casual trail runner. What's up with the suit, man? What's going on?
I like it, actually. I do like it. So when you go into, some formal places, you like to get a little bit of a formal dressing, just for the sake of, enjoying the moment. Doesn't necessarily mean that, we have to, of course. We can do it underwear, but we like that, and I'm actually enjoying it myself.
Yeah, that's really cool. You had that picture of, you not wearing the pants, and I posted that on Twitter, and that got a lot of attention. Let's get into markets. Andrew, walk us through what you're seeing today. What did you trade today? Maybe pull up your chart so everybody can see what you traded today and what you're seeing overall in the market.
Yeah, so today I traded, we are coming into after the Memorial Day, so market was closed yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was expecting the market to gap up and rally because China news came out that over the weekend they're easing down the lockdowns.
Yeah.
So Asian and the European market really rallied. But today we kind of opened flat for QQQ and SPY, and we did have a big sell-off all the way down to minus 1.5%, but we did rally back, and now QQQ is up 0.4%, SPY is almost flat, and IWM is down 1.2%. So yeah, I was actually kind of surprised that we didn't get a rally, but we did have a big week last week. So I traded NIO at the open. So if you go to my chart, damn, NIO is actually, I wasn't traded NIO. What did I trade? AMC. It was AMC. Yeah, I do. I'm sorry. Yeah, so I traded AMC at the open. So AMC was gapping down, and if you go to my chart, you can see that at the close, sold off a little bit, and it came back up, and then I took a 1 minute opening range break up just around here. So it took from 1570 all the way up to above 61 minute opening range break up. After that, I really didn't touch it and just continued selling off. It went even red. And then I did one trade on TQQ that turned out to be really nice. Again, Qs were really setting off. They were at the previous day close at 33.30, sold off, and eventually I got this bounce on them at around 10.10. That rallied all the way up above the VWAP. So that was a really decent
and what's your criteria for these reversal trades? You can take them quite often. What is it? Is it a volume? What is it that you're looking for when you're doing these trades?
So first of all, if you want to take this reversal, you have to be careful that you don't take them too early, because when a wave of sell-off comes, usually is about half an hour. So I even mentioned that in the chat room that I want to take, your recap is over there. So it's really unlikely that you can catch a really decent reversal just around here. But when after about 10 o'clock, like half an hour of sell-off, you can look for this double bottom, triple bottom here, and then you can catch that reversal. For me, in this case, it actually broke down this level. I did have a try to couple of scalp here, but I knew kind of it's not going to work. And after it sold off, I was surprised that with the volume, it came up and punched through these moving averages. And that was the moment that I saw this consolidation kind of bull flag. I went long here, and I added at the VWAP, all the way up toward the green. So it's the first thing is that you have to remember that, so all the way up to the green. So the first thing is you have to remember that don't take it too early. When the wave of sell-offs comes, usually half an hour you need that. But other than that, look at the chart patterns: bottom, bottom, bottom. In this particular case, it really broke down this bottom, but it quickly bounced back.
Yeah, no, exactly. Very well said. If you take a look at my screen, this candlestick kind of did it for me. I took that trade with you as well. What I did, however, was a little different. I used the option, so I did a buy right. So I bought 300 shares of QQQ, not the TQQ, and immediately after I sold 3 contracts against it. So, I'm welcoming the assignment. I want my shares to get assigned. I calculate my profit and I ride that wave. That way you get a little bit extra premium with the options that you're selling as well. So another way you could do it. Yeah, definitely. That was a great trade. It was definitely an awesome trade. You touched on, of course, we got tons of people tuning in, and so if you got questions, let us know in the chat. We're monitoring the chat. The charting that you see on my screen, by the way, is on Trading Terminal. We just did a major upgrade on our charting, real-time data, really beautifully outlaid. Andrew, you mentioned you were expecting the market to gap up because of the China news, but we did get a little bit of bad news out of Europe. So, we've been talking about all last week, hey, is inflation peaking? Is inflation peaking, right? We want to see that inflation curve slowly start peaking and going down, but the numbers came out of Europe, 8.1% or something like that. I have it in my PowerPoint. Really high. So, no sign of slowdown over there. Brent, of course, making another very strong move. I think it's at 121 now. Let me see it here. It came down a little bit at 119.50. So even oil is still very strong. So what's your read on this?
So obviously the oil embargo right now that is happening in Europe is very chaotic. The European Union, they haven't really got into complete agreement on how they actually want to ban the oil. There are some countries that are really getting hurt, and there are some countries like Scandinavian country, Norway, that they have oil and gas. They're really benefiting from that. So that's one thing that's, it's in the Europe and it's really chaotic, but it seems to me that European countries are making exceptions to continue importing oil and gas from Russia until this crisis is over, which we do not see any sign of really slowing down right now. In terms of the inflation, did you say inflation number came in or jobless number?
Inflation number came in. So if you can go to my screen, Santiago, I can actually show this. Let me bring my pen. This screen is so finicky. Sorry, it's one of the perks of running a live show is you get into little issues like this. But Eurozone consumer prices jumped to 8.1%, exceeding the 7.8% medium estimate Bloomberg survey. So they were expecting 7.8% year over year. The numbers actually came 8.1. And it's so interesting. The relationship between inflation and bond prices is absolutely interesting. So what we're seeing is TLT, which is the 10 to 20 year bond ETF, actually gapped down. So if you go to TLT chart, maybe Andrew, you can pull up TLT. This TLT gap down, so yields going up. So market over the weekend consumed this data, looked at this data and said, we don't think inflation is peaking actually. And that's why the bonds sold off, the yields go up. So that means the Fed needs to be even more aggressive in bringing down the inflation, because we know the globalization, everything's so interconnected. What we see in Europe, we're probably going to see in US as well. Europe is a little different because of the energy crisis they got going on, but that's definitely one of the issues. And in a very rare meeting, which is actually the next topic I wanted to talk about, is President Biden is meeting with Jerome Powell. So we know Federal Reserve is actually independent. It's supposed to be independently run, but this week, Jerome Powell and Biden, I think President Biden are meeting today, discussing inflation. It's very interesting. A lot of people are comparing it with, Carter meeting Walker, and that was the 1979, 1980s, really high inflation, the oil prices, start of OPEC. So people are comparing these two. Andrew, what's your take on it?
I mean, generally, Federal Reserve, as you mentioned, is not political, but definitely there is a lot of political pressure right now on them, especially on the year of election. Inflation is definitely hurting middle class and people under the middle class, and politicians definitely don't want that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that President definitely wants to inflation be cool down, specifically for November election. How feasible would that be? That's a different story, but I'm sure that it's going to be a very, very stressful meeting for both of them. And even, in the last Fed's meeting, when Jay Powell came and started his speech, he started by apologizing that inflation is too high and saying that I understand that the American people are under pressure. And I couldn't believe that the chairman of Federal Reserve coming and starting his speech by just directly, addressing American citizens. That means that such a political pressure is also on Jay Powell.
Yeah. I think, President Trump was the same first president who kind of started, targeting the Fed. He used to tweet a lot during the 2000 rate hike, asking for the rates to come down. So that was interesting. Maybe that set the precedent for other presidents. Andrew, you mentioned about Fed. We know two mandates. Fed got two mandates. Full employment, I put it as FE, full employment, and of course inflation, IN. So these are their mandate. They don't really care if they got, election coming up, a midterm coming up, but of course these factors influence it. I got a quote from President Biden. My plan is to address inflation. This start with a simple proposition: respect the Fed, respect the Fed's independence, which I've done and will continue to do so. Some people are saying this is a very clever way of saying inflation is not my fault and not because of the fiscal expansion that my administration did. So that was interesting as well. We got a question coming in the chat. Artie, when did you start learning about options? Christopher, this is kind of my background. So I studied finance. I studied financial engineering, so options, hedging, things like that I've been doing since 2016. But actively trading the way I'm doing, it's been over 2 years now. So since I started with Peak Capital Trading, so a little bit over 2 years.
Yeah, the basics of options are really not that complicated. Adi, you yourself put this into education center, but I think what you should practice is the trading strategies, guys. Very, very important, because they're more complex than trading equities directly. Then you have a time element into your options activity.
Yeah, exactly. There's long, short. I always say three-dimensional. Like there's the long position, there's short position, but there's also a speed. You can bet on the speed of the move, which adds a whole new dimension to it, which makes it really interesting, but at the same time really dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. Feel free to check it out. Let's get to market, Andrew. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the sentiment of the market. We know at the beginning of every year, investment banks usually come up with their price targets. So they say, hey, this is going to be S&P 500 price target for the end of the year. And that's usually based on an earning estimate, what they think the U.S. economy as a whole, these 500 large cap companies, is going to earning be. Morgan Stanley was one of the most bearish ones, and now they're estimating that by the end of this quarter, so probably sometimes by the end of this quarter's earnings, so probably by July when Q2 earnings are out, S&P 500 based on their earning estimate should be somewhere around 3,400. That means a SPY will be around 340, and then they have their year-end forecast at I think 4,250 for their year-end target for S&P 500. We know you're the ultimate bull. What do you think of these numbers?
Well, Adi, these numbers, Morgan Stanley predicted that, but Deutsche Bank was predicting that S&P 500 is closing near 500. So the beauty of the financial market is that nobody really knows on this stuff. And, market can stay rational longer than everyone can stay liquid. Right now, the market is greatly driven by short-term sentiment.
Right.
If there is a good news coming, the market will rally. And if there is no good news coming or bad news are coming, market is dropping. And this is a very, very dangerous thing for the market, because it means that, the market does not react to the macroeconomic indicator yet. And that's very important. Market, someone asked, for example, do you think it's a relief rally or bottoming in progress? Well, the reality is the market bottoms, as you said, Adi, that when the economic indicators are actually bottom.
Yeah.
When the inflation is under control and everything is going into the right direction. What we are seeing right now is we're still having a war in Europe. that is not going to end anytime soon, apparently. And the energy prices are continuing to going higher, and the inflation has not shown a sign of reversal yet. Therefore, there's no reason for it to bottom. And that doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. It's just that, that there is no reason for it to bottom. It could continue into a chop and going into a range like IWM was for 1 year last year, or right now we're just really bottoming at around flat for the year for SPY, and it can continue going to do that. And if the prediction of 2% interest rate, 2% GDP expansion is true, then seeing 3-4% positive for the year on the equity market is not really crazy, and being down 5% also in the equity is not crazy considering this inflation that we have.
Yeah. No, very well said. Yeah, usually S&P returns something in line with the GDP growth, plus or minus some kind of an error term. So definitely, I mean, there's still room for the year to close green. We've seen these crazy rallies, how positive they are. And beauty of the market is everybody have different opinions. So my personal opinion is look at leading economic indicators, look at ISM, look at PMI numbers, look at HMI numbers, and once they bottom, that's usually your signal to buy. That might not exactly correlates with the bottom of the equity market, but that's the time to get aggressive and start maybe using some leverage in your positions. But people have different opinions, right? So you gotta read through, do your own research, and make that decision. One thing that came up last week, which was really interesting, somebody, Andrew, bought $65 million worth of Apple call, expiry end of year, so expiry January 2023, $65 million, 2023, a strike price of 90. So these are leaps, so they're already deep in the money. Basically what this guy is betting with $65 million in an option market, that's like a $650 million notional exposure. So it's a massive position, right? So basically this person, whoever this person was, I'm guessing it's probably a family office, they're betting that at least Apple has bottom. So they wanna get that. Apple, I think, is down negative 18%. They think that's the bottom for Apple. That's why they're risking 65 million, right? Because this trade could very well go to zero.
What was the premium that they paid?
They paid $50 per contract. They set it up last week. Now that same contract is trading at 54. So they're already up $400 per contract. So they're probably up about a couple of $1 million at least on this trade over a few days, which is enough to retire. But that's kind of the type of trade they did. That's their thesis. I mean, it's a good. We talked about it in the chat room. It's a good play. Apple is a great company, and what's the worst that could happen? You get assigned, and you have to buy Apple.
So let's go to my screen and let me show you something. When someone buys, a $90 call, when Apple is trading at, at $50, they pay the premium of $50 per contract, it means that they're actually buying Apple at $140. So they were really thinking that this is the bottom for the market, and so that's $90 here, and then they have paid $50 per contract, so that's $50 for the board. So they are essentially long at $140. Is that correct, Adi?
That's correct. Yeah, pretty much. The worst thing that could happen is basically the stock goes down, they lose their premium, and they have to just exercise and buy that many shares of Apple at $90, right? Whatever the difference is, but they're basically synthetically long, and they're betting that the Apple will continue to go up. That's the short-term bottom for Apple, which that was a brilliant play. So far, it has worked out great. Another stock, Andrew, if you could go and bring it up, is Amazon.
Amazon is up big today. It's like up 5% now.
So Amazon, in the past 5 days, it hasn't been correlating anymore with the Qs, which is shocking. And one of the reason is, ever since they announced that 20-to-1 split, we always say, when you look at a finance textbook, a split should be a non-event. So it shouldn't really, the stock price shouldn't really move when a split news comes out. But in reality, there's always some positive momentum going into the split. And we see that in Amazon 4 days in a row, making higher highs. And I think some of our traders took that with options and made really amazing profit. The split voting, I think it's this Friday. So if you want to get into Amazon, you got till Friday to actually get into the action.
Yeah, I wonder if this movies actually have anything to do with the split, because again, millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars are going into this position. I think maybe people realize that Amazon drop was a little bit overreaction, and it's slowly going back to the level of 2,600 at after the earning. Is it going to fill up the gap back to 2,700? That's another discussion, but. I would be surprised if they believe that retail traders trading or investing can actually push the price of Amazon higher.
Yeah, definitely interesting to see. We saw a similar move on Tesla when they announced their split. It's one of those things that, again, finance textbooks say it shouldn't impact it, but there's tons of studies that shows it does. Somebody asked, why would they sell put instead? Salty, they could also sell put instead, but remember, when you sell put, when you sell premium, your upside is limited. So the best case scenario is it expires worthless, right? Your option contract expire worthless. That's the best case scenario. So your upside is capped. But when you buy calls, if Apple continue to go up and let's say close the year positive 5%, 6%, then that upside, you capture all that upside. So if you're aggressive, buying calls is better than selling puts. That's my one thing that I would say. A lot of people asking about the market. We'll get into them. Let's see what else I wanted to talk about today.
So Chinese sectors are strong as well. Baba, it was a strong. Neo it's up 5%, although it's selling off. JD definitely probably up 5%. Yeah, Bilibili, I think Brian traded Bilibili 5%.
What is Bilibili, Andrew? I keep hearing it in the chat.
What the company does, Bilibili.
What the hell is Bilibili?
I think I knew that. Let me tell you, it's a video sharing website. I think it's something that users can actually share games, their gaming, and it's just a video game, a streaming website.
Did you know ByteDance, which is the parent company of TikTok, is actually a private company? Did you know that, Andrew?
Yeah, I know that.
And it's
TikTok,
worth like $300 billion.
Yeah, that's one of the things that they say about TikTok. That's why Microsoft and a lot of companies were trying to get that. But at the same time, when there's not a public company, so you don't know a lot of information about that. That's also another question. Even public companies that are Chinese public companies, there's a lot of questions about their accounting and the numbers that they're releasing. Has been in the past. But now, you imagine you're dealing with a company that is private and you don't know too much information about the companies inside.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things I noticed, I spent a lot of time on TikTok over the weekend, is it seems like they're running ads very aggressively. I rarely used to see ads on TikTok, and now they're running ads, and a lot of businesses are running ads. A lot of American businesses are running ads on TikTok. I saw tons of them, and I was looking at my Twitter, and on my feed there was a lot of people complaining about the ads on TikTok. So something has changed. It will be interesting to see. And Instagram is like completely rebranding over the next few months to look exactly like TikTok. So very interesting dynamic over there. In terms of market, Andrew, I saw one really interesting stat on Bloomberg that I wanted to share and kind of get your opinion. This basically shows the percentage of S&P 500 that are trading at a single-digit forward PE. So forward PE is basically looking at the earning estimate for next year and then dividing that by price, right? So price over earnings. So in peak of 2008, we had almost 25% of S&P 500 trading at single-digit forward PE. Currently, we're sitting at 17%. So at the bottom, in this short-term sell-off that we had, we were sitting at 17%. So, if you're bearish and you want to make a case for a bearish case based on fundamentals and earnings, there is still more room to go on a historical level. I just wanted to put it out there, right?
So say again, Adi. So that red line is
the red line is a SPY chart, so that's kind of irrelevant. And this y-axis on the left-hand side is for a SPY. So don't worry about this. Just look at the black line. Again, my apologies for not explaining it better. But so that shows what percentage of S&P 500 were trading at a single-digit forward PE. So based on their next year estimate. In 2018, market just closed, by the way, that number was about 25%. That was the peak of the QT, quantitative tightening, that Fed was doing. currently we're sitting somewhere at around 17%. So the point I was trying to make is, if you want to make a bearish case, looking at historicals and forward PEs, there is still more room to go, right? So, but again, we don't make investment decisions, trading decisions based on these charts. These are just good eye candies and informational grab, just for perspective.
Yeah, so it's very interesting that you see it back in the 2008 and 9, because of the drop in the market, there's a very high percentage of the companies they were trading in the single PE ratio. Very, very interesting. It was a scary time in those times for sure.
Yeah, 2018. You traded, Andrew, 2018. How was it compared to now?
2018 or 2008? I was talking about 2008.
Oh, 2008.
No,
yeah.
I wasn't trading in 2008. But in 2018, I was trading that. I mean, the volatility, well, there is one thing that I noticed, that there has never been a time that you can trade index funds and market a day trade so easily. When you look at the chart, let's go, for example, to my chart right now. Let me show you a SPY. There has never been a time that the size of these daily candlesticks will be that much. Or, look at the QQQ, for example. This volatility, in daily volatility, is just amazing. When you go back in time and, for example, back before the pandemic or after the pandemic settled down, the size of the candlesticks, of the daily candlesticks, are fairly small back in, for example, let's say here. So just look at this in 2019, the size of the daily candlesticks are really, really, really small. But after that, in this volatility, you can trade TQQ, QQQ, SPY, SPXL, SOXL. These index funds are almost pretty much daily, and it's just unbelievable, this amount of volatility. In those times, I remember 2018, we were just focused on the stocks in play. Try to find what the stock has fundamental news, and the stocks in play really changing it for you. But right now, it's just really nicely you can trade anything that you want, just picking up from a basket.
Yeah, definitely a lot more volatile right now. Currently looking at, just Andrew said, looking at candlesticks, or just look at VIX and compare it historically, right? VIX of 25, 26 is normal now, where historically it's only 18. A lot of crazy movement. Vahid is asking, Andrew, do you relate fundamentals to day trading? Meaning, from day trading perspective, what should we focus on? Mostly technical or?
Mostly technical. I think you should not confuse the fundamentals with day trading. If anything, you might get actually a confirmation bias. You say, oh, this is a good company. They're producing this, a phone or this, and then you actually start getting a bias toward the long or short. You just have to look at the price action, look at the VWAP. There is trading compared to the VWAP, and that's essentially important for day trading. If you're swing trading, is a different story. When you're swing trading, the fundamentals, some of the fundamentals come into play, but not for day trading.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point, Andrew. Definitely. One thing I wanted to say in terms of the volatility, Andrew, you mentioned. SPX now has daily options every day.
Wow, really?
Yeah, every day. So before it used to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Now it got every day. So just that element alone will add extra volatility to the indices, to the indexes, because there's going to be more option volume. More option volume means more hedging in terms of market makers. So all of these elements will make it more volatile. So if you're a scalper, if you're a trend trader, day trader, swing trader, it just creates more opportunity, but at the same time, more risk. So you have to really know what you're doing. Market closed. Just want to touch on how we closed today, and then go to the calendar and look at earnings. So SPY tried to go, even tried previous day close, but wasn't strong enough. Closed about a 0.5 percentage point. Same thing with Nasdaq. Went green, wasn't strong enough. Dow didn't really hold that previous day close. This could have been a really great trade for any of the previous day close traders. Same thing with IWM, and Bitcoin's just struggling around 30 to 31,000. Had a really good weekend. One of our staff came into the office. Is like, "What's happening, guys?" I'm like, "What's going on?" It's like 7 in the morning. He's like, Bitcoin's rallying, man. What's going on?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was down 60% and now it's up a little bit, but it's just a volatile asset class."
And the problem is, the volatility really not meaningful for trading. They come out of nowhere. There is no starting point and end point for this volatility. What I like about the stock market is it starts at 9:30, and then volatility usually ends by 11. And this is the time that you can plan, you can find. The volatility in the cryptocurrency can come any moment at any time zone, and that's really hard for someone who wants to be a trader. I think what I would see right now in cryptocurrency is a chop. Bitcoin is chopping between 29,000 to 31,000. Yes, it's a couple of $1,000 move, but it's really, really choppy.
Chop, exactly. Constantly. I remember, Andrew, you were mentoring a trader who was shorting Bitcoin or something like that, and then Elon tweeted something and he got squeezed. You remember that story?
And then he actually emailed Elon Musk and he wanted his money back. And he told me, I found his email through one of the company employees and I want to email him. And I said, good luck with him. I don't think he's going to respond to you.
Yeah, I respect the effort that he definitely did. Very interesting. Let's go to our calendar page, see what's going on in terms of earning. We got some important earning coming out. Oh, Salesforce has had earnings today. Maybe once Andrew gets back, we'll see how Salesforce is doing. Salesforce is one of those big, heavy, CRM. Client relationship management software services, so that would be interesting how they did. Their stock hasn't been doing very well. HP would be interesting. GameStop tomorrow, tons of interesting stuff. Capri Holding, this is the mother brand of Couch, Kate Spade, some of the luxury brands. So this would be interesting as well. Capri Holding, how the retail market is doing, as well as Lululemon. So some really good, important heavy hitters are reporting this week. Let's go to CRM chart and see what's going on, whether or not they've reported. Let me go to news and see if any news has comes out.
CRM is actually popping up. It closed 1% down. There is some volatility right now on it, and it seems that it's trying to find its way back to the green. The volume is not significant on it, but it would be interesting to see if it can continue to move up. Now it looks like now it's going green actually.
Now it's going up. Okay, that's some good news. So if you take a look at my screen, I'm currently in our trading terminal in our news page. We just added a new feature, which is the search functionality on our trading terminal. So I just searched CRM, and immediately the latest news of my apologies, my phone. Latest news of CRM is coming out. So CRM sees a Q2 adjusted earning $1.1 to $1.4 versus 114 estimates. So overall, it seems like their earning was pretty good, in line.
Yeah, thank you, Adi. By the way, you guys can go to the trading terminal and the news page and news section. You can actually search that. That search is something that we added recently based on the request.
Yeah, so earning per share 98 cents beats the 94 estimate. So they beat on the bottom line, which is their earning per share. And sales was 7.41, which beats the 7.38 estimate. So top line and bottom line, a massive beat. Again, I'm seeing that on our trading terminal. So that's pretty good news. We probably have to do some more digging on why this stock is actually rallying right now.
All right, so yeah, CRM is moving up. It's now up 2%, and that's let's see if we can recover. About 170. I think it would be a decent trade tomorrow.
Yeah, it'll definitely be very interesting. I wonder if anybody is trading them right now.
Ed might be. Ed usually trades in the afternoon on the earnings. Potentially, there's not a lot of volume.
Yeah, the volume is not there. Surprisingly, the volume is not there. Yeah, looking at my chart as well, the volume is.
Yeah, we can actually go to trading terminal. I can actually go to trading terminal. I don't know why I'm not in trading terminal.
Yeah, Andrew, we got one of the best charting in the game.
Yeah, so charting. Yeah, we'll go to the CRM. Yeah, extended hours.
We're seeing a lot of these companies after earnings, they're not really falling that much. So that's one of those things that shows me we're far closer to a bottom than to a top, personally. Just because of the reaction to the earning. Like a lot of bad news is already priced in.
Awesome. Yeah. So for those of you guys who are watching, you can go to tradingterminal.com and get that price action live there. So it's up 2% now. I think we're kind of done with the earnings season. I don't see a lot of big earnings season right now happening.
Yeah, I think Salesforce was one of them. I would look at Lululemon. I think Lululemon on Thursday could really provide some opportunities for trading. Tomorrow, Wednesday, GME. GME is always good time. So, GameStop I think is gonna lead into some kind of volatility. It's after hours. C3 AI is one of those high flyer tech names who's been absolutely destroyed. So the stock's down like 80%. They're doing earnings as well, so that will be interesting to see as well on how they do after hours.
Yeah, Lulu is down 3%, but I know the earning is later.
Yeah, earnings on Thursday.
Anything from Elon Musk recently?
Nothing too crazy. So I was just skimming through Twitter. And he's been one of my hobbies is just going through his tweets and replies and see what he's saying to other people, because he really has no filter. He's been really going after Jeff Bezos recently. So, he commented on Mackenzie Scott. Like, it's safe to say that Mackenzie Scott is not exactly a big fan of her ex-husband. Unfortunately, a lot of others are getting caught in the crossfire. And then he said something about going to the moon, Andrew, right? You mentioned?
Yeah, so he said if Jeff Bezos really want to go into the moon, he should just do less partying and less in the hot tub and focus more on the work. So that was really funny that he said, yeah, he got in a bunch of tweets to these people. And Bill Gates, he said that he's not a big fan. And, and you remember that he also posted a meme about Bill Gates.
Yeah, he's really going after the billionaires. It's awesome. They say Bill Gates' short position, if you want to close it, it's about 2 billion. He tweeted it's about 1.5 to 2 billion, which I hate it. Like, Elon is an engineer. 1.5 to 2 billion, that's a wide range. Like, it's like, is it 1.5 billion or is it 2 billion? That's a $500 million
for
difference.
his bet against Tesla.
For bet against
Tesla.
I
don't think he has that information, does he? But he said he started with $500 million. But surprisingly for me, is Bill Gates trading? Is he really a trader, short seller? I thought he's just an investor, and his funds are really investing and focusing on this Bill Gates Foundation, focusing on charity and philanthropy, but apparently he's a famous short seller now.
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean, I personally, I love short selling. I think it's an awesome thing. It's one of the elements of efficient market is short selling. And it's funny to me how Elon, which is so pro free market, pro everything basically, free market, is kind of against people shorting his company, right? That was one of the shocking things to me. But anyway, he's paying a price. Do is a great Canadian company with earnings this way. I'm not sure, Sal. I don't know what company that is. Do. DOOO. We don't have the Canadian companies added to our database for trading terminal yet, but I'll have to take a look at that. All right, we covered tons of stuff today. We'll be live again tomorrow. Let's talk about meetups, Andrew. You came up with a schedule. What's going on with the meetups?
So we're gonna do a couple of meetups. The list I think we'll start hitting the east. We go to Toronto, go to New York City, Florida, and then Texas, and then maybe we can have later on the west as well, Seattle and San Francisco. So the full list of meetups are in our website. Go to bearbulltraders.com in the forums. Let me see if I can find the link for you. And then there's a full list of meetups there. Yep, so let's see. Yeah, I'm going to post the meetup there as well for the list of the meetups.
Yeah, no problem, Andrew.
So yeah, if you're a member, guys, we'd love to really come and so meetup in calendar. There you go.
You found it?
Yeah, I can found it. I'm gonna post in there. Make sure that, guys, if you're interested, go there, and we'll hopefully see so many of you.
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward to that. We had one this Friday in our office. It was pretty awesome. I think about 25, 30 people showed up. It was a small one, but it was really great to see people, talking about market, and everyone We didn't have like a sentiment calculator, but everybody's question was like, did we bottom? And it's so interesting, the mass psychology of everyone's asking, hey, are we close to a bottom?
Yeah, the business cycles.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna actually share some posts here, so you can see these are some people that came to the office. That was really great to see all of you guys, and yeah, so that was a really fun time together.
Yeah. Yeah, if you could share your screen, Santiago.
Yeah, Santiago, if you show
yeah,
my screen.
Now we got it. Yeah, so that's one of the pictures. It was pretty awesome gathering. Yeah, really awesome. And you know, our producer Santiago made like a mini documentary. We'll post later this week as well, which will be pretty awesome. Alrighty. So we've been on about 45 minutes, 50 minutes. Andrew, what do you think? We'll cut it. We'll get to tomorrow. Anything you want to talk?
Yeah, nothing. I'm excited to see tomorrow how the market is doing, what trading opportunities market is offering us, and yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Make sure to check tradingterminal.com, and if you have any question, guys, feel free to email us.
Amazing. Yeah, we'll see you later. Thanks again.
Cheers, guys.